Listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you isn't just content. It's not just another video you scroll past. This is a divine message straight to you. There are moments in life when people will test you, disrespect you, challenge you, or try to make you feel small. And in those moments, you have two choices. You can react emotionally and lose your power, or you can respond smartly, with words so precise, so sharp, so calm, that you silence them without raising your voice. This video is about the 7 smart responses that will silence anyone, not through anger, not through shouting, not through fighting, but through wisdom, composure, and presence. Because the truth is, the strongest person in the room isn't the loudest. The strongest person is the one who knows how to control the atmosphere with silence, with confidence, and with the right response at the right time. And I want you to understand something. This isn't entertainment. This is transformation. These 7 responses are tools, weapons, shields. Once you learn them, you'll never handle conflict the same way again. But before we dive into the first response, do me a favor. Don't just watch this and leave. Be part of this journey. Hit subscribe to the channel. It's free. Like this video if it already speaks to you. Comment below which chapter or response hits your spirit the most. And make sure you turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos that will sharpen your mind and strengthen your character. Remember, sharing wisdom is a form of service. So if something in this video resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Now, take a deep breath, because once we begin, you're about to learn 7 smart responses that will silence anyone and shift the balance of power in your favor forever. Chapter 1. The Power of Silence. Before words, the very first smart response that will silence anyone is actually not words at all. It's silence. Now, let me explain. Most people think that responding quickly makes them look smart. They think if they fire back fast, they win. But that's a trap. Because the fastest response is usually an emotional one. And emotional responses reveal weakness. When someone disrespects you, when they throw shade at you, when they try to get a reaction from you, the smartest thing you can do is pause. Breathe. Look at them and say nothing. That silence isn't emptiness, it's power. It tells the other person, I'm not controlled by you. I'm not moved by your noise. Think about it. Lions don't roar at every barking dog, and kings don't argue with fools in the street. Your silence shows control. It shows composure, and it leaves the other person uncomfortable because they expected a fight. But instead, you gave them nothing to feed on. Now here's the key. When you finally do respond after that silence, your words will hit 10 times harder. Because you've taken your time, you've chosen them carefully, and you've spoken with authority, not emotion. For example, imagine someone insults you in public. Instead of rushing to defend yourself, you pause. You let the silence hang in the air. You look at them, not with anger, but with calm confidence. And then, with steady words, you say something like, I don't argue with people who don't respect themselves enough to respect others. That's it. No shouting. No fight. Just clarity. And here's what happens. Their voice gets smaller. Their power shrinks. And the people watching know exactly who the real leader in the room is. You. So remember, the first smart response is not to rush. It's to master silence. Because silence is not weakness. It's strategy. It's the pause before the strike. And once you learn this, you'll never waste energy on arguments that don't deserve your voice. If this first response already hit your spirit, pause right now. Like this video. Comment below. Silence is power. And don't forget, subscribe if you haven't already, because the next response will take your control to an even higher level. Chapter 2. Answer with a question. The second smart response that will silence anyone is this. Don't give them an answer. Give them a question. Why? Because questions shift the power. When someone attacks you, they want you defensive. They want you explaining yourself, proving yourself, lowering yourself. But when you respond with a question, you flip the script. Suddenly, they have to explain themselves. They have to defend their position. They lose control. Let me break it down. Imagine someone says, "You're not good enough for this." Most people would try to argue back, "Yes, I am. Let me prove it." But the smart response? Calmly ask, "What makes you believe that?" Do you see what happened? You didn't get emotional. You didn't defend. You handed them the pressure. Now the silence is on their side, not yours. They're forced to think, forced to justify. And often, people who insult you have no real reason. They're just projecting their own insecurity. When you question them, their weakness gets exposed. Here's another example. Someone says, "You'll never succeed." Instead of arguing, simply ask, "What do you gain by saying that?" That question cuts deep, because now they have to face their own intention. Why are they speaking negativity into your life? Why are they trying to limit you? Suddenly, the spotlight is on them, not you. And that silence after your question? That's the sound of their power collapsing. Remember this. Smart people don't fight to be right. They guide the conversation with questions. Questions are weapons. Questions reveal truth. And questions make the other person realize that they can't play mind games with you. Here's a gem you need to carry with you. The one asking the questions is the one in control. So when someone tries to belittle you, don't rush into defense. Don't waste energy proving yourself. Calmly, confidently, drop a question that makes them question themselves. And watch how fast the room goes quiet. If this second response spoke to you, type in the comments, "I control with questions." Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to stop being defensive and start being powerful. Now, get ready, because response 3 will show you how to use facts as your strongest weapon. Facts that can crush arrogance without raising your voice. Chapter 3. Slay with facts, not emotion. The third smart response that will silence anyone is this. Use facts, not feelings. Listen, most arguments spiral out of control because people start debating with emotion. They shout louder, they get angrier, they get more desperate to be heard. But here's the truth. Emotions fade. Facts remain. And when you bring facts into the conversation, you cut through the noise like a sword. Let's say someone tries to discredit you. They say, "You don't know what you're talking about." Now, you could get upset and argue back emotionally. Or, you could calmly drop a fact that leaves no room for debate. For example, "Actually, I've studied this for 5 years, and here's what the research shows." That's it. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't fight for approval. You just delivered truth. And truth, spoken with composure, silences lies. Here's another scenario. Imagine someone says, "People like you never succeed." Instead of defending yourself emotionally, you hit them with undeniable evidence. History proves otherwise. Look at specific successful examples. Success doesn't ask permission. Notice what happened there. They tried to argue with your potential, but you brought proof. And you can't argue with proof. Facts are like light in the dark. When you shine them, ignorance has nowhere to hide. But let me give you a deeper truth here. Facts are not just about information. They're about discipline. When you discipline yourself to stay calm, gather your thoughts, and respond with clarity, you show everyone around you that you are not reactive. you are strategic. Because here's what silences people the most. It's not just the facts you speak, but the way you deliver them. Calm, steady, unshaken. That composure alone says more than 1,000 words. And listen, don't ever feel pressured to argue with opinions. Opinions are wind. Facts are stone. One blows away, the other stays. Which do you want to build your foundation on? Stone. So the next time someone tries to argue with you, don't waste your energy in shouting contests. Pause. Smile. Drop a fact. And let them sink in their own silence. If this third response spoke to you, drop in the comments. Facts over feelings. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to learn how to silence lies with truth. And get ready, because response number 4 is about using confidence as a weapon. How to say less, but make your presence impossible to ignore. Per chapter 4, confidence. Speak less, command more. The fourth smart response that will silence anyone is one of the most powerful weapons you will ever carry in life. Unshakable confidence. Now listen carefully. Confidence isn't about having the loudest voice in the room. Confidence isn't about trying to impress people, proving yourself, or begging for validation. Confidence is presence. It's the energy you carry before you even open your mouth. It's the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you breathe. And when your confidence is unshakable, you don't need many words. You just need the right ones. Think about the people you admire most. Leaders, thinkers, warriors. They don't waste words. They don't argue endlessly. They don't chatter to prove their worth. Number. They speak when they need to and when they do. Every word carries weight. Confidence silences people because it's rare. Most people operate from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being judged. But when you walk into a room and your energy says, "I don't need your approval. I know who I am," you shift the balance of power instantly. Let's break this down with an example. Someone insults you, trying to get a rise out of you. Most people will either lash out or shrink. But a confident person? They don't flinch. They don't rush. They might smile, tilt their head slightly, and say something as simple as, "Is that the best you've got?" Or even fewer words. Noted. That's it. Just 1 or 2 words, delivered with confidence, can destroy an entire argument. Because here's the secret. People expect drama. They expect emotional reactions. When you don't give them that, they get uncomfortable. They don't know how to handle it. And that discomfort, that silence, that's your victory. But confidence isn't just about witty responses. It's about lifestyle. Confidence is built through preparation. Confidence is built through discipline. Confidence is built when you keep promises to yourself. When you wake up early and do the work, you carry that discipline with you. When you push through challenges and refuse to quit, you carry that resilience with you. When you know you've done the inner work, you don't need to argue with people. You are the argument. Confidence is magnetic. People lean in when you speak. They notice when you walk into a room. They feel your presence, even in silence. And the louder your presence, the fewer words you need. So here's the lesson. Don't waste energy explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds. Don't fight to prove your worth to those too blind to see it. Instead, let your confidence do the talking. Let your presence silence the noise. Because sometimes, the smartest response is no response, just calm, unwavering confidence. And let me give you one final gem here. Insecure people shout to be heard. Confident people whisper, and the world leans closer. So train your confidence. Build it daily. Walk into every situation knowing who you are. And when someone tries to test you, remember, you don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. You just need to be unshaken. And that silence, that composure, that confidence will speak louder than any argument ever could. If this chapter hit you, pause and type in the comments, "Confidence is my weapon." And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel. It's free. Hit like, share this video with someone who needs to be reminded of their power, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next message. Because coming up next, in Response 5, we'll talk about a technique that flips negativity into strength, a way to disarm insults and leave people speechless by transforming their words into fuel for your power. Chapter 5. Flip negativity into strength. The fifth smart response that will silence anyone is this: turn their negativity into your strength. Now, this one is different, because most people don't realize that negativity is actually fuel. An insult, a doubt, a criticism. Those are not bricks meant to bury you. They're weights meant to train you. And if you know how to flip them, you can turn every attempt to break you into proof that you cannot be broken. Here's the reality. People who attack you are not really speaking about you. They're speaking about themselves, their insecurity, their fear, their envy. They project it outward because it's too heavy to carry inside. But when they throw that negativity at you, you have a choice. Do you absorb it and shrink, or do you flip it and grow stronger? Let me show you how. Imagine someone says, "You'll never be successful." The average person gets angry, defensive, maybe even discouraged. But the smart response? Smile. Look them in the eye and say, "Thank you. That's the fuel I needed." That one line does two things. One, it disarms them instantly. They expected you to break, but instead, you turned their attack into motivation. Two, it shows everyone else watching that you are untouchable, that you feed on obstacles instead of running from them. Here's another scenario. Someone says, "You're wasting your time." Most people argue back, trying to prove their worth. But the smart response is calm and steady. Maybe for you. For me, this is the investment that changes everything. Do you see the shift? You didn't deny their negativity. You redirected it. You took their energy and spun it into strength. That leaves them silent, because how do you fight with someone who uses your attack as fuel? You can't. Now, let's go deeper. This principle is not just about words. It's a life strategy. Every no you've heard, every door slammed in your face, every rejection, every insult, every time someone doubted you, those are not curses. Those are sparks. And when you use them right, they ignite the fire inside you that cannot be extinguished. Think about every great person in history. They were doubted. They were mocked. They were told, "You can't." And every single time, they flipped that negativity into strength. That's why they're remembered. So when people throw negativity at you, don't waste energy fighting it. Absorb it. Flip it. Transform it. Because here's the truth. What was meant to break you will end up building you if you respond the right way. And when people see that nothing shakes you, that insults only sharpen you, that criticism only fuels you, they go quiet. Because there's no weapon against someone who turns every attack into power. If this spoke to you, drop in the comments. Negativity is fuel. Don't just listen, claim it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe right now, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to stop letting words break them and start letting words build them. Because response number 6 will be even stronger. It's about the ultimate calm comeback, the one that shows mastery over every situation. Responding with unexpected kindness that disarms even your enemies. Chapter 6. The Weapon of Unexpected Kindness. The sixth smart response that will silence anyone is one of the most underestimated weapons you have in your arsenal: kindness. Now wait, don't mistake this for weakness. True kindness in the face of disrespect is not softness. It's strength. It's a kind of control that very few people ever master. Because when you choose kindness instead of anger, you're showing the world that you're untouchable, that no insult, no attack, no negativity has the power to pull you down to a lower level. Let's be honest, most people expect drama. They expect anger. They expect retaliation. That's the game they're used to playing. So when someone throws shade at you, and instead of fighting back, you hit them with calm kindness, it completely disarms them. They don't know how to respond. You've taken away their power. Here's an example. Imagine someone insults you in front of others. Instead of firing back with more negativity, you calmly smile and say, "I truly wish you the best." Do you realize what just happened? You rose above the battlefield. You showed strength and restraint, and your kindness cut deeper than any insult ever could. Because here's the truth. When someone tries to drag you into the mud and you refuse to step down from your throne, you win without even fighting. Here's another scenario. Someone says, "You don't belong here." The emotional response would be to argue or defend yourself. But the smart response? "Thank you for sharing your opinion. I still wish you success." That one line destroys their intent. Why? Because kindness exposes their insecurity. It makes them look small while you stand tall. It flips the mirror back on them and forces them to see their own bitterness. Now let me give you the deeper wisdom here. Kindness is not about the other person. It's about you. It keeps your spirit clean. It keeps your energy high. It prevents their poison from becoming your poison. When you choose kindness, you're saying, "I refuse to let your darkness dim my light." And that is the ultimate silence, when your light is so strong that their shadow disappears. This is why the strongest warriors in history, the wisest leaders, the most respected figures, all practiced restraint and kindness. Because anyone can lash out, anyone can get angry, but only the strong can stay calm, smile, and rise higher when tested. And here's something powerful to remember. The moment you stop fighting back with negativity, you break the cycle. The moment you respond with kindness, you show that you're operating on a level they can't reach. So the next time someone comes at you with anger, envy, or disrespect, don't give them what they expect. Give them what they can't handle: kindness. Because nothing silences an enemy faster than realizing they can't shake your peace. If this chapter spoke to you, type in the comments. Kindness is strength. And if you haven't already, subscribe right now. Hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and turn on notifications so you never miss a message that sharpens your mind and spirit. Now, get ready, because the final response, response number 7, is the ultimate one. It's about closing the door with finality, using a response that ends every argument, every conflict, and leaves no space for debate. Chapter 7. The final word. Boundaries that end all arguments. The seventh and final smart response that will silence anyone is this: set a boundary and close the door. Listen, there comes a point where silence, questions, facts, confidence, flipping negativity, and even kindness are no longer about the other person. They're about you. Because the ultimate power isn't just knowing how to respond, it's knowing when to stop responding altogether. Boundaries are the ultimate silence. Why? Because they declare, "This is my line. This is my peace. This is where your noise ends." Think about it. People only drain you when you keep giving them access. Insults only keep flowing when you keep standing at the door. Toxic energy only spreads when you keep allowing it to touch you. But when you stand tall, look someone in the eye and calmly say, "This conversation is over." Or, "I don't entertain disrespect." Or even just, "Enough." That's when you reclaim full control. Do you realize how powerful those words are? They're final. They leave no opening for more drama. They don't invite a reply. They slam the door shut and protect your peace. Let me make this clear. Boundaries are not cruelty. Boundaries are self-respect. When you set a boundary, you're not being rude. You're being wise. When you set a boundary, you're not weak. You're showing that your energy is valuable. When you set a boundary, you're not pushing people away. You're protecting the garden of your peace from weeds. And here's the part most people miss. Boundaries silence people more than arguments ever will. Because when someone realizes they no longer have access to your time, your energy, or your mind, they lose the only weapon they had.